The world population is collapsing. If birth rates in most countries stay this low, there's a real possibility that humans could go extinct. But on this Monster Minute channel, we're not here to talk about human extinction. Instead, we're going to talk about what would happen before that. The economy would completely collapse, like totally fall apart. That's because the population would shrink by half of what each country currently has. What really inspired me to make this video was that even though everyone knows the world population is collapsing and that it will lead to an economic disaster, like a total collapse of basic infrastructure, to the point where even throwing money at the problem might not fix it, there isn't a single country or even a single policy that has actually solved this problem. So I started to wonder, what if it were a really authoritarian country? Could they do it? So I looked into China. Hey, could China do it? Do you know why I had to look at China? Because China is also heading toward a population collapse. And the real reason to look at China is that they once successfully forced people not to have children. So I wanted to know, if it's China, could they force people to have kids? Support. You can support Sai's channel, Money Monster, by scanning this QR code. Or you can support the Money Monster channel really easily. Just leave a comment to chat, hit like, share, and what I'd love most is if you could subscribe. Or now we have a membership system. If you're interested, you can sign up, and there will be small events and things like that to invite everyone to join in from time to time. Thank you. Let's start by talking about birth rates. If birth rates stay this low, what would it look like if the world's population collapses? First, I want everyone to get familiar with this term, fertility rate. That means the average number of children born to a woman. If a country has a fertility rate below this line, boom, the population is shrinking, it's going down. So what is the fertility rate that the world needs? The rate at which each woman should have children for the population to be stable. It's 2.3. That's the number needed to maintain the economy and pension systems that have been in place for ages, so that everything can keep running smoothly. But the truth is, according to data from the World Bank, the fertility rate has been steadily declining. By 2024, it's down to 2.2. Is that bad? Maybe not terrible, but it has dropped a lot. And if you look closely at the major countries, the fertility rate is actually way too low. Whether it's China, Japan, the US, Germany, or Thailand, the fertility rate, the average number of children a woman has, is just over 1. South Korea is the worst, with a rate just above 0. Thailand is now classified as having an ultra-low fertility rate, meaning the average woman there will have only about 1.2 children. What happens when the population declines? Let me do the math for you. If the fertility rate is at 1.2, it means the population will decrease by 40% every generation. Or in other words, each generation will only be 60% the size of the previous one. The numbers might not be exact, but it's roughly like this. Let's assume, for simplicity, that the number of men and women is equal. So let's say the first generation has a population of 100 people, 50 men and 50 women. Women have a fertility rate of 1.2 children. So out of 100 people, there will be 60 children. That's the second generation. In the second generation, the 60 people are split into 30 women and 30 men. The women still have the same fertility rate of 1.2, meaning each woman gives birth to 1.2 children. So among the 60 people, there will be 36 children. Those 36 people make up the third generation. Then in the fourth generation, there will only be 21.6 people left. In the next generation, there will be just 13 people. If we look at it this way, by the fourth generation, it means that in about 100 to 120 years, 87% of the population will have disappeared from the country's map. And if the numbers don't change, that means after 300 years, by the 9th or 10th generation, the population will be extinct. Every country knows these figures. If the birth rate stays this low, everyone is heading toward extinction. And before that happens, the economy will collapse at the structural level. Like I said, there still isn't a single policy that has truly succeeded in solving this problem. That's why I want to take a look at what China is doing. Will China, the country that once successfully forced people not to have children, be able to succeed at this? And if China also fails, what will the country look like? How much will it affect China? So is China trying to solve this problem? Absolutely. Right now, China is working very hard to address this issue. They are putting a lot of pressure on the population to have children, even going as far as making direct phone calls to women of childbearing age. They're telling women, it's time for you to have kids now. You really should have children for the sake of the nation. You need to reproduce. Or the government is giving financial support to new parents, handing out cash to people who get married at a young age, offering free childbirth services, free kindergarten, and even raising taxes on condoms to make them more expensive so that young Chinese couples will have sex without worrying so much. All of this started about 2 years ago when President Xi Jinping started talking about a new culture of marriage and having children. In that speech, Xi Jinping told government officials that increasing the birth rate had become a national emergency. As a result, the media in China began broadcasting messages to the public saying that reproducing is now a patriotic duty. Why is that? Because in reality, the most valuable resource that China has had, which has been growing for decades, is the Chinese population. However, this resource started to decline for the first time in 2022, and it is projected to keep decreasing until there are only half as many people left in China. If that happens, it could mean that everything China has built to become a world superpower might collapse. The so-called Chinese century, which once seemed possible, is now uncertain. It could all come to an end just like that, even before it actually happens. No matter what the reason, whether it's China's full-speed space program or the rapid expansion of its military arsenal. Over the past few decades, China has transformed into the world's factory, steadily extending its economic influence to every single corner of the globe, proudly showcasing its advanced high technology and monopolizing global resources. China was able to build all of this thanks to its incredibly vast and industrious labor force. But if it didn't have a workforce of over 1 billion people that China has relied on to build everything over the past 100 years, then from here on, China might have to take a step backward. And what's happening now, if you look at China's birth rate, wow, it's dropping at an accelerated pace. This is a hole where the birth rate is declining 50 years faster than expected. Why? Because of something the whole world knows about, the policy. The one-child policy, that's the policy China once implemented. Why did China have the one-child policy? Well, maybe because back in the 1950s, it was normal for families in China to have 5, 6, even 7 or 8 children. At that time, there were people predicting that if Chinese families kept having 7 or 8 kids like this, soon China would have a population of 4.5 billion people all competing for food, resources, and using everything up. That just wouldn't work. But as for whether those calculations were right or wrong, I don't really know. If they had just let things be, would it really have turned out that way or not? But what's happening now is that even the Chinese government itself is starting to feel that it was a mistake. Let me backtrack a bit. The one-child policy in China was an extremely authoritarian policy. Do you know what they did to make people not have more kids? As soon as the policy was set, they immediately established special medical squads that would go straight to the homes of women who already had one child but were pregnant with a second. They would forcibly terminate the pregnancy. At that time, reports said that because of this policy, there were a total of 14 million pregnancies terminated, and 16 million women of reproductive age were sterilized. And there's also a documentary from the year 2019 called One Child Nation. You can watch it right now on Amazon Prime Video. This documentary reveals the shocking story that in just one city alone, there were as many as 19,000 abortions within a 50-day period. By 1989, China had carried out more than 300 million pregnancy terminations and had sterilized women of reproductive age across the entire country. That's 1/3 of the entire country, an enormous number. So why was China so afraid of having so many children back then? I want everyone to get familiar with another term, dependency ratio. This is the ratio of people who depend on the working age population. The higher it is, the worse it gets. Back in 1970, China's dependency ratio was at 80. This means that for every 100 working people, they had to support 80 dependents. A lot. But I want to get a bit closer to this point because it needs some detailed explanation. The dependency ratio of China in the 1970s, which was 80, is not the same as Japan's current dependency ratio of 70. That's because the way the dependency ratio is calculated is like this. If you take the people who aren't working, the first group is children, those who haven't started working yet, ages 0 to 14, plus retirees, meaning everyone aged 60 and above. Add those together and divide by the number of working people. So in China in 1970, the dependency ratio was 80, but that was mostly children. And children, well, they'll eventually grow up and become part of the workforce. But in Japan, the dependency ratio of 70 is made up of retirees. They're only going to continue aging. They won't grow up to join the workforce. So the seriousness of the situation is different. Still, it's possible that at that time, China felt, hey, it's not okay for the dependency ratio to be as high as 80, even though most of that was children. That's why they had to reduce the number of children. But now, if China still can't stop the problem of low birth rates, then China's dependency ratio, which is currently in a good place, will eventually head toward a truly bad situation, heavily weighted toward retirees. So what about the dependency ratios in other countries? In Thailand, it's at 45. Not great, but not terrible. In the US, it's at 55. Is that number higher and worse? No, America's wealthier, so it can better support dependents. France is at 60, already a national crisis. Japan is at 77, signaling national decline. Right now, Japan faces multifaceted challenges, financial, energy issues, and a collapsing population. Sending encouragement, but when the dependency ratio gets high, what happens next? It means that the working population has to support a huge number of non-working people, right? And the first thing to collapse before the population itself is the pension and social welfare systems. Anything that collects taxes from workers to pay retirees just won't work anymore. Because back in the baby boom era, the people who designed these systems, there used to be a dependency ratio where about 5 working people supported 1 retiree, which was manageable. But now, like in Germany, it's about 2.5 workers for every retiree. And soon, if things keep going at this rate, it'll be just 2 workers supporting 1 retiree. The math just doesn't add up anymore for collecting taxes from young people to pay for retirees. So if you ask whether Gen Y and Gen Z, who are currently paying taxes, expect that they'll get the same kind of system as before, the answer is probably not. And this issue has become a hot topic in many countries. The most prominent example is France. France did what many other countries have done. They raised the retirement age from 62 to 64. But the French, who are used to living a romantic lifestyle, suddenly faced this change and just couldn't accept it. The protests were intense, with millions of people across the country coming together to strike over the increase in retirement age and the budget issues. The situation in France is tense, and in Germany and the UK, they've also raised the retirement age from 65 to 67. Labor unions have come out to oppose it, but was it very intense? Not really. In China, the retirement age was raised from 60 to 63 because the Chinese workforce is shrinking, right? China's pension fund is also under pressure. But if you ask whether there were protests, well, protests are banned in China, so people could only complain on social media and things like that. So if we ask whether this problem, no matter how you try to solve it, the solution should really be to find ways to increase the birth rate. But as I mentioned, there hasn't been a single country that succeeded at this. Not even China, which once forced people not to have children, but now can't force people to have them. Because producing quality children requires willingness and intention. You can't force it. Or another way to solve it might require a lot of pain. like sacrificing an entire generation, whether it's the retirees or the young. Either way, both methods are extremely harsh. Or another way is to really look at the root of the problem. People today don't want to have children because the economy, it's really tough. Honestly, finances are really difficult. And the root cause that makes money matters so hard is because the money we're using right now, it could potentially not even be money that can maintain its purchasing power over time. And money that is unable to preserve its value simply cannot create long-term wealth or stability and security to our lives at all.